Marchbox was crazy. My goodness, this stuff is a little clunky to work with, but it was fun. So we have the pastels, acrylic paints, glitter, oil paint, which was fun to work with, but sloppy. Brush, glitter, and googly eyes, but I used the googly eyes already. It, like I said, it was a lot of fun, but clunky. So if you have an eye for detail, this is not your art to do unless you do this for kind of a therapy thing, trying to get yourself out of the box a little bit. This is the swatch page that I made. And it's just to show how things are smearing and how they work together, because there's oil paint, acrylics, oil pastels, googly eyes. And the googly eye, there was a little eye there, but it fell off. I thought it would stick to the oil paint, but it ended up falling off. So I did have to get some glue and use glue. And the glitter. So that's the swatch page. And this is what I got for the inspiration look. So I had to use that for inspiration. And I started with, I ended up with this. This is I call it springtime ballerina. And it was really hard to do this one because getting in those little lines with that big old paintbrush and the oil pastels were just, they're clunky to work with, but it was still fun. You just have to be happy with what you put down, and I'm pretty happy with it. It looks okay. I love the colors. It's bright and it reminds me of spring is coming. Or at least I hope. It is Wisconsin. You never know. Anyway, then we have this, and this I didn't use any extra except for the glue. The other one I used a pen and pencil extra, but this one I just used just glue, and what was in the box. And I started with a blank sheet, and I just went at it, and I had a lot of fun. I thought about, I love skulls, and so in all different shapes and sizes. And so I did kind of a funny, wacky, psychedelic, expressive skull. I did the ballerina in pencil art, and I did line that with marker, just so I knew where everything was supposed to go. At least I knew everything was going to be pretty much covered up by the pastels and the paint and everything, because those are pretty heavy products. But surprisingly, some of the stuff was a little translucent. And just a reminder that paint, the oil paint, is very sticky. So if you have anything like, I have a paint blanket and I use it for just about everything. But make sure and use like an old shirt or something that you're used to painting in and stuff. Or have some old rags around. Here it is lined. That satisfying blurb. Here it is. Blurb. That is so satisfying. Anyway, here's my swatch sheet. And that paint's still sticky, of course, it always will be. And here's me trying to get paint from a big old brush into a little tiny flower. And it wasn't until I decided I couldn't do it that I just let go and realized at some point that this goes in layers anyway. So it's going to be covered. Well, that's Marchbox with the springtime ballerina and the crazy skull.